Stop working hard. Start working obvious, the hidden shortcut to success. Introduction, the door you've been walking past. What if everything you've been told about success is a trap? For years, we've been sold the same story: push harder, grind longer, sacrifice more. We watch the sleepless hustlers and think, that's the price. We see the exhausted leaders and whisper, that's what it takes. But what if that story is wrong? What if the door to your biggest goals isn't locked behind a wall of sweat and strain, but is standing wide open right next to you? This isn't a book about working less. It's about working differently, trading the exhausting, hard, for the intelligent, obvious. Welcome to a new way. This book is your map to the hidden shortcut. We're going to dismantle the myth that struggle equals success and replace it with a powerful, simple principle: the working obvious. It's the art of seeing what truly moves the needle and having the courage to ignore everything else. The path of less effort and more result isn't a fantasy, it's waiting for you. All you need to do is stop pushing on the wall and finally notice the door. Chapter 1: The Effort Trap. Let me tell you about Leo. Leo ran a small bakery. He believed success meant being the first one in and the last one out. He kneaded dough until his arms ached, decorated cupcakes with perfect, tiny roses, and personally answered every email. His days were 14 hours long. He was exhausted, but his business was just okay. Leo was stuck in the effort trap. He confused being busy with being effective. He was pouring all his energy into activity, not into strategy. The effort trap is the belief that more sweat automatically equals more reward. We wear our tiredness like a badge of honor. We say, I'm so busy, hoping people will hear, I'm so important. But deep down, it feels empty. You're running on a treadmill, pumping your legs furiously, but you're not actually getting anywhere new. The work is hard, but the progress is slow. Why? Because effort alone is not the key. Here's the exciting truth: your breakthrough won't come from a second wind of effort on the same old path. It will come from a single moment of clarity. For Leo, that moment came on a rare day off. Staring at the ocean, a simple thought hit him: what if my best-selling item is also my easiest to make? He wasn't thinking about working harder. He was wondering about working smarter. Think about your own life right now. Where are you pushing with all your might, but not moving forward very fast? Is it a project at work? A personal goal? Your health? The first step to escaping the trap is to admit you might be in one. It takes courage to say, this hard work isn't working. But that admission is your power switch. This chapter is your permission slip to stop. To question the grind. We're not here to judge your hard work, we're here to make it count. Escaping the effort trap isn't about quitting, it's about redirecting your incredible energy towards targets that actually explode with results when you hit them. The goal isn't to be the most tired person in the room. It's to be the most effective. So, take a deep breath. Let go of the guilt for a moment. What if the secret isn't in your muscles, but in your perspective? Leo returned from the beach with one mission: to find his easy win. And his journey starts ours. Get ready to trade your hard hat for a treasure map. The real work, the obvious work, is about to begin. Chapter 2: Finding Your Obvious. Leo walked back into his bakery on Monday, but he saw it with new eyes. Instead of seeing a list of 100 tasks, He asked one revolutionary question: what single thing, if I did it exceptionally well, would make everything else easier or even unnecessary? He looked at his sales data. Amidst the complex wedding cakes and fussy pastries, one item stood out: his simple, crusty sourdough loaf. It sold out every single day. It had the highest profit margin. And people loved it. It was his obvious. Your obvious is not a secret, complicated strategy. It's the clear, simple thing that creates the most value. It's the 20% of your actions that lead to 80% of your results. For a writer, it might be the daily writing habit, not the perfect font choice. For a salesperson, it's the number of genuine conversations, not the color of the sales brochure. We often ignore the obvious because it seems too simple. We think, it can't be that easy, and go looking for a more complicated, harder path. That's the mistake. Imagine two gardeners. Anna spends hours every day meticulously watering each leaf of every plant, worrying about each tiny weed. Ben sets up a simple drip irrigation system on a timer and focuses on planting the right seeds in good soil. Who has more time, less stress, and a better garden? Ben is working on the obvious, the system and the seeds. Anna is lost in the details. Your mission is to be Ben. So, how do you find your obvious? Start by looking for the bright spots. What already works well for you? What do people consistently compliment or buy? Where do you feel most in flow, where time flies and the work feels almost easy? Leo's bright spot was his sourdough. Your bright spot is waiting for you to notice it. It's likely something you're already good at, which is why you might overlook it. Finding your obvious is the most exciting detective game you'll ever play. It turns overwhelm into clarity. Instead of a to-do list a mile long, you now have a to-don't list. Leo stopped taking custom orders for complicated desserts that took hours and stressed him out. He said no to the busy work, so he could say a bigger yes to his obvious, baking more of that amazing bread and creating a sourdough subscription box. This is your turn. Grab a notebook. Ask yourself, if I could only do one thing today to move my biggest goal forward, what would it be? That's the direction of your obvious. Don't overthink it. The answer is probably simpler and closer than you think. Leo's business didn't just grow, it became a joyful, local sensation. And it all started with one simple loaf of bread. Your simple loaf is waiting. Let's find it. Chapter 3: The Power of Simple Levers. Leo had found his obvious, the sourdough. But now, he faced a new problem. He was still just one person. How could he bake enough bread without going back to his old 14-hour days? He needed a lever. In physics, a lever is a simple tool that lets you move a heavy object with very little force. In your life, a lever is a strategy, habit, or tool that gives you a huge result for a small, smart action. Leo's first lever was his recipe. He stopped tweaking it and perfected one master recipe that was foolproof. His second lever was technology. He set up a simple online pre-order system. Now, customers ordered and paid in advance. Leo knew exactly how much dough to make, eliminating waste and guaranteeing sales before he even started his day. One small system change lifted the heavy burden of guesswork and marketing every single morning. We often try to lift our goals with pure willpower, pushing, straining, and hoping. Leverage is about finding the right place to apply your pressure. Think of a seesaw. Pushing down right next to the center takes enormous effort to lift the other side. But push down on the very end, and you can lift a weight much heavier than yourself with ease. Your current goal isn't too heavy, you've just been pushing in the wrong spot. What are your levers? For an author, a lever is writing 500 words a day without fail, the action, which leads to a finished book in months, the massive result. For someone getting fit, a lever is laying out your workout clothes the night before, the tiny action, which dramatically increases the chance you'll actually exercise, the big result. The action is simple. The result is disproportionate. That's the magic. Your assignment this week is to find one lever in an area you've been struggling with. Stuck in your career? Your lever might be sending one genuine, thank you, or interesting article email to a person you admire each week. Small action. Potential for huge connection and opportunity. Want a tidier home? Your lever could be the 5-minute reset every night before bed. Small action. Massive impact on morning peace. Leo's story doesn't end with pre-orders. His next lever was teaching. He started a weekly, Sourdough Saturday, workshop. For 2 hours, he taught his master recipe. It became his highest profit activity of the week, built a community, and sold more bread-making kits. One simple decision, to share his knowledge, became a lever that grew his business and his brand. He wasn't working harder, he was working obviously, using the power of leverage. Stop pushing the rock uphill. Start looking for the lever. Look at your biggest challenge right now and ask, what is one simple, repeatable action that could make this 80% easier? The answer is your golden key. Unlock it. Chapter 4, Building Momentum, Not Muscle. There's a famous story about a flywheel, a giant, heavy metal disc. To get it spinning, you have to push with all your might for what feels like forever, with almost no visible movement. It's exhausting, frustrating work. But with each consistent push in the same direction, it gets infinitesimally easier. Then, suddenly, a magical point is reached. Momentum takes over. The flywheel spins with a powerful force of its own, and keeping it going requires only a tiny, gentle nudge. This is the secret Leo discovered after he found his levers. His first few weeks of the pre-order system were slow. Telling customers about the change felt like pushing that heavy flywheel. But he kept at it. He baked his perfect loaves, one day after another. Then, momentum kicked in. People started telling their friends about the genius baker you pay before he even bakes. The Saturday classes filled up weeks in advance. The flywheel of his business was spinning, and his job changed from the brute force pusher to the graceful guide. We are taught to build muscle, to get stronger so the hard work feels easier. But the goal isn't to make pushing a boulder feel normal. The goal is to get the boulder rolling so it pulls you along. Momentum is built through small, consistent, easy actions applied in the same direction. It's not the single heroic 10-hour push, it's the 15-minute daily push, without fail. How do you start your flywheel? You make the first action so easy you can't say no. Want to write a book? Don't commit to write a chapter. Commit to open the document and write one sentence. That's it. The magic is, once you've written one sentence, you'll often write a paragraph. The hard part was starting. Momentum loves tiny, frictionless beginnings. Leo's start was simply deciding to post his pre-order link in one social media post each morning. Tiny action. Consistent direction. Momentum is also your greatest motivator. Seeing the flywheel even begin to turn on its own is thrilling. It creates a positive feedback loop: small win excitement, another small action, bigger win. This is the opposite of the burnout cycle: big effort, exhaustion, discouragement, quit. You are trading the drama of the sprint for the power of the constant, easy breeze. Imagine your goal is a massive flywheel. Your job today is not to spin it. Your job is simply to give it one small, focused push in the right direction. And then do it again tomorrow. Leo's business now runs with a rhythm that feels almost effortless. The orders come in, the classes fill, the bread bakes. The momentum does the heavy lifting. Where in your life can you stop trying to be the engine and start being the gentle, consistent driver? Find that spot, give it your first tiny nudge, and feel the thrill as it starts to move. Chapter 5: The Good Enough Breakthrough. Meet Maya, a talented graphic designer. She was hired to design a simple logo. She spent days researching, sketching hundreds of concepts, tweaking colors by microscopic degrees. She missed her deadline, stressed herself out, and when she finally presented it, the client said, "Yeah, looks great, just like the first few you showed." Maya had fallen victim to perfectionism, the arch-nemesis of working obvious. Perfectionism is the voice that says, "It's not ready yet." It's the belief that one more hour, one more tweak, one more review will magically transform your work from good to legendary. But in the real world, that last 5% of polish often takes 50% of the effort and causes 100% of the delay. It's the ultimate effort trap. Working obvious requires a new mantra: done is better than perfect. Leo faced this in his bakery. His first sourdough workshop lesson plan was a messy page of notes. The perfectionist in him wanted a beautiful slideshow, branded handouts, and a perfect script. But the working obvious part of him knew the real value was in the live, hands-on experience. He went with his messy notes. The workshop was a hit because he was present, helpful, and authentic, not because his slides were pretty. He achieved the result: happy, skilled customers, with good enough preparation. This good enough breakthrough is liberating. It releases you from the prison of your own impossible standards. Think about it: is a home-cooked meal with slightly uneven chopping enjoyed with family better than a perfect, frozen dinner you're too tired to make? Is a blog post published today with one helpful idea better than the definitive guide that's been sitting in your drafts for a year? The answer is always yes. Action creates feedback, learning, and progress. Perfection creates paralysis. How do you embrace good enough? You define the standard for finished. For a report, it might be accurate data, clear recommendation, no spelling errors. That's it. Not the most beautiful report ever made. For your exercise, it's get to the gym and move for 20 minutes. Not have the perfect Instagram-worthy workout. You hit your defined finish line, you celebrate the completion, and you ship it. This builds incredible momentum. Maya learned her lesson. On her next project, she set a timer. She gave herself a good enough deadline. She presented 3 solid options, not one perfect one. The client chose one immediately and was thrilled with the speed. Maya got paid, got a great testimonial, and moved on to her next project with energy to spare. She traded the stress of perfection for the power of progress. Your mission is to find one thing you've been overcomplicating and declare it good enough today. Send that email. Launch that simple website. Have that conversation. The goal isn't a flawless performance, it's a forward motion. Perfection is a ghost. Good enough, shipped and delivered, is real, powerful, and it's how you win. Chapter 6. Working with your brain, not against it. Imagine your brain is a smartphone. You wouldn't expect it to run a dozen powerful apps, stream a video, and download files all at once without the battery draining in an hour. Yet, we do this to our own minds every day. We jump from a stressful meeting to writing a report to planning dinner while checking social media, and then wonder why we feel fried by 3 p.m. This is working against your brain. Working obvious means understanding your brain's natural energy cycles and flowing with them. Sarah, a project manager, used to structure her day by urgency. Her calendar was a chaotic patchwork of back-to-back meetings and work blocks. She was always busy but never felt truly effective. Then, she started tracking her energy, not just her time. She noticed she was razor-sharp and creative from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., but after lunch, she hit a slump where detailed work felt like wading through mud. Your brain has a rhythm. It has peaks for focused, deep work, often in the morning, and valleys for administrative, less demanding tasks. It needs breaks to recharge, just like your phone needs to be plugged in. Fighting these rhythms is like swimming against a current, it takes all your effort just to stay in place. The obvious strategy is to turn and swim with the current. Sarah redesigned her day. She became a protector of her peak brain hours. From 9 to 12, she put her phone in another room, closed her email, and worked on her one most important project. This became her non-negotiable, obvious work block. The after-lunch slump. She scheduled her meetings, answered emails, and did her filing. She was using her low-energy time for low-energy tasks. The result? In 3 focused hours, she accomplished more than she used to in 8 scattered ones. This is about respecting your human hardware. Another key lever is the strategic break. Your brain's focus operates in 90 to 120-minute cycles. Pushing past that leads to diminishing returns and mistakes. The obvious move. Take a real break. Get up, walk, stare out a window, drink water. For 5 minutes, do nothing work-related. It's not lazy, it's a system reset that lets you come back stronger. Leo the baker built 10-minute breaks into his baking schedule to simply sit and smell the bread. It kept him inspired and present. Your challenge is to become a student of your own energy for 1 week. When do you feel most alert? When do you drag? Stop forcing hard, creative work when your brain is in low-power mode. Stop wasting your peak mental energy on trivial emails. Align your hardest tasks with your highest energy. This one change can cut your perceived workload in half because the work will feel easier. You're not fighting yourself anymore. Sarah now finishes her core work by early afternoon and has energy left for her family and hobbies. She works with her brain, and as a result, her results are better and her life is richer. Stop treating your mind like a machine that can run non-stop. Treat it like the brilliant, rhythmic, biological wonder it is. Give it the right fuel at the right time, and watch it perform miracles for you, effortlessly. Chapter 7. Automate, delegate, eliminate. Remember Leo's old 14-hour days? They were filled with tasks like manually emailing receipts, buying supplies from 3 different stores, and cleaning every inch of the bakery himself. He thought this was dedication. It was actually a recipe for burnout. The Working Obvious framework has a 3-word magic spell for this: automate, delegate, eliminate. This is how you turn yourself from the chief doer into the chief architect of your results. First, automate. Automation is setting up a system once so a task happens forever with little to no ongoing effort from you. Leo automated his ordering and payment system. He set up automatic reordering for his flour supplier when stock got low. He used a simple social media tool to schedule his daily post. These were one-time setups that saved him hours every single week. What in your life is a repetitive, simple task? Bill payments, email sorting, social media posts. There is almost certainly a tool to automate it. A 1-hour investment can save you a lifetime of weekly effort. Next, delegate. Delegation is giving a task to someone else or something else that is not the best use of your unique skills and energy. Leo's breakthrough was hiring a high school student for 2 hours after school to handle cleaning and packing. It cost him a small amount, but it bought him back 2 precious, peaceful hours at the end of his day. He delegated what was necessary but not core to his genius, which was baking. What are you doing that someone else could do 80% as well? Could you outsource house cleaning, meal prep, or data entry? Your time is your most valuable asset. Buy it back. Finally, and most powerfully, eliminate. This is asking the radical question: do I need to do this at all? Leo eliminated whole product lines that were fussy and low profit. He stopped attending a weekly networking event that never brought in business. He said no. Elimination is the ultimate source of leverage because it frees up 100% of the time and energy that task consumed. Look at your to-do list. What meeting could be an email? What report could be stopped? What can you simply let go of? Be ruthless in cutting what doesn't serve your obvious goal. This triad works like a filter for your life. Any recurring task or demand should be put through it. 1. Can it be automated? Set it and forget it. 2. If not, can it be delegated? Pay for time/skill you lack. 3. If not, can it be eliminated? Just stop doing it. For only if the answer is no to all 3 do you personally do it. Applying this filter feels like discovering a superpower. The clutter of your life begins to clear. Your schedule opens up. Your mental energy is reserved for the high-value, obvious work that only you can do. Leo went from being a baker, cleaner, accountant, and marketer to being a master baker and a visionary. The other jobs were handled by systems, other people, or simply didn't exist anymore. Your action for this chapter is brutal but joyful. Take one area of your work or home life. List every recurring task. Run each one through the automate, delegate, eliminate filter. Commit to implementing one change this week. Feel the weight lift. This is the practical engine of less effort, more result. Start filtering. Chapter 8: The Clarity Filter. In a world of endless noise, pinging notifications, urgent emails, a bottomless social media feed, and everyone else's priorities, how do you stay focused on your obvious? You need a shield. You need a clarity filter. This is a simple, personal rule that helps you instantly decide what gets your attention and what gets ignored. Without it, you'll be pulled in a dozen directions and wonder why you're busy but not moving forward. Imagine a sailor in a storm. The wind is howling, the waves are crashing from all sides. If he tries to react to every single wave, he'll exhaust himself and capsize. But if he has a strong rudder and a clear fixed point on the horizon, his obvious goal, he can steer through the chaos. The storm is the noise of daily life. Your clarity filter is your rudder. Your obvious goal is your fixed point. How do you build one? You start with a guiding question. For Leo, as he became more successful, people started asking for partnerships, catering gigs, and new recipes. His filter question became, does this let me bake more great bread or teach more people to do it? If a catering order was for 500 fancy canapes, the answer was no, it would take him away from his core. If a partnership was with a local farm to feature their flour in his classes, the answer was yes. The filter made the decision instant and stress-free. Your filter question should be directly tied to your Chapter 2, obvious. For a writer, does this help me write or connect with readers? If an invite to a fancy industry party doesn't, it's a no. For someone focused on health, does this give me energy or support my recovery? If a late-night work call doesn't, it's a no. This isn't about being rude, it's about being ruthlessly protective of your one precious path. The magic of the clarity filter is that it turns decision-making from a draining debate into a quick, binary check. It conserves your most valuable resource, mental focus. You stop agonizing over, should I? You simply run it through the filter. This creates incredible confidence and calm. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's agendas. You are the captain of your own attention. Apply this filter everywhere. To your inbox, does this email require an action that moves my obvious forward? If not, archive or delete. To your weekly planning, of all my projects, which one is most obvious this week? Give that one your prime energy block. To social invitations, will this activity refuel me or connect me meaningfully to my goal? If not, give a gracious no. You are not saying no to people, you are saying a bigger yes to your own mission. Leo found that using his filter not only simplified his business, it attracted the right opportunities. People understood what he stood for. They stopped asking for the things he said no to and started offering the things he loved. Your filter shapes your world. It tells the universe what you value. Start today. Write down your one-line clarity filter question. Put it on your screen. Let it be your compass. The noise will fade, and the path of obvious results will shine brighter than ever. Chapter 9, The Obvious Results Loop. This is where the magic becomes self-sustaining. You found your obvious, used levers, built momentum, and filtered out noise. Now, you enter the obvious results loop. This is a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. Small obvious action, visible result, positive feedback, energy and clarity to take the next action. It's the opposite of the vicious cycle of overwork, big effort, exhaustion, slow progress, discouragement, quit. Let's watch Leo enter the loop. His small, obvious action was baking his master sourdough recipe perfectly every day. The visible result was a line of happy customers out his door every morning. The positive feedback was their smiles, their reviews, and the money in his register. This gave him the energy and clarity to take the next obvious action, creating the pre-order system. That led to a bigger result, less waste, guaranteed sales, which gave him the confidence to launch the workshops, and on the loop spun, each cycle lifting him higher with less strain. Your brain is wired to love this loop. It craves completion and reward. When you take a clear, manageable action and see a result, your brain releases dopamine, the feel good and get stuff done chemical. This dopamine makes you want to repeat the process. It turns progress itself into the reward. You are no longer working for a distant, stressful goal, you are working for the next satisfying click in the loop. How do you set up your own loop? You engineer tiny wins. Break your big obvious goal into the smallest possible next step. Want to get fit? Don't aim for, work out 5 days a week. Aim for, put on my running shoes and step outside today. That's a completable win. You'll likely take a walk or run once you're out there. You log that win. You feel good. That feeling fuels tomorrow's win. The loop has started. Then, you make the results visible. Leo saw his results in the sales line and the full class roster. You need to see yours. Use a simple tracker, a calendar where you put a big red X for each day you complete your tiny action. A jar where you add a marble for each small win. Watch the chain or the jar fill up. This visual proof is rocket fuel for your motivation. It turns abstract effort into concrete, celebrated progress. Finally, you celebrate the ease. This is crucial. When you accomplish something with an elegant, obvious action, pause and acknowledge it. Wow, I just moved that project forward with one 20-minute phone call instead of a week of stress. This rewires your identity. You start to see yourself not as a hard worker, but as a smart, effective, leverage-minded person. This identity then naturally seeks out the next piece of obvious leverage, keeping the beautiful loop spinning. You are now the designer of your own momentum engine. The hard work is over, the work of changing your mindset. Now, you simply maintain the loop. Find the next tiny, obvious action. Do it. See the result. Feel the boost. Repeat. This is the sweet spot. This is where less effort truly does create more result, day after day, building a life and legacy of effortless achievement. Chapter 10, Your Obvious Life. Let's take a final look at Leo. The man who once worked 14-hour days now runs a beloved local brand. He bakes for just 5 focused hours a day. He teaches 1 joyful workshop a week. His business is profitable, growing, and a source of pride and peace, not stress. He has time for long walks, his family, and other passions. He didn't achieve this by pushing harder. He achieved it by seeing clearly, acting simply, and letting the systems do the work. He is living his obvious life. Your obvious life isn't a fantasy of doing nothing. It's the reality of doing only what matters most with grace and efficiency. It's a life where your energy is spent on creation and connection, not on friction and frustration. It's waking up knowing you're one thing, having systems handle the rest, and ending the day with progress made and fuel still in your tank. This is the ultimate result of applying every principle in this book. Building this life is a practice, not a one-time fix. Some days, the old, hard work habit will whisper to you. When it does, come back to your clarity filter. Come back to the flywheel. Ask, what's the most obvious, leveraged action I can take right now? The answer is always there, simple and quiet, waiting for you to choose it over the noisy, complicated struggle. This is your new compass. Let it guide your career, your health, your relationships, and your personal growth. Where can you find more obvious levers at home? How can you communicate your clarity filter to your team or family so they can support you? How will you design your weeks to protect your peak energy for your peak contributions? You now have the tools. You are the architect. You stand at the threshold. Behind you is the well-worn, exhausting path of hard work for its own sake. Ahead is the clearer, brighter, more effective path of working obvious. You have the map. You know the principles. The only thing left is to take that first, obvious step, today, right now, with whatever is in front of you. Start small. Trust the loop. Let momentum become your best friend. Welcome to your obvious life. It's not a destination you arrive at someday. It's the way you walk from here on out. Walk with clarity, with leverage, and with the quiet confidence that the most powerful results come not from the grind, but from the graceful, obvious truth you were brave enough to see and act upon. Conclusion: the world needs your results, not your struggle. For too long, we've confused suffering with significance. We've believed that the story of our success must be a story of pain and sleepless nights to be worth telling. But here is the ultimate, liberating truth: the world does not benefit from your exhaustion. It benefits from your clear mind, your focused energy, and the unique value only you can create when you are at your best. Your results, the art, the solutions, the connections, the innovations, are the gift. Your struggle is just the inefficient wrapping paper, and it's time to toss it aside. You are now equipped with something far more powerful than a stronger work ethic. You have a smarter work philosophy. You have permission to stop glorifying the grind and start pursuing genius, the genius of simplicity, leverage, and obvious action. This isn't about taking the easy way out, it's about finding the intelligent way through. As you move forward, remember Leo, remember your clarity filter, and remember the thrill of the first time you felt the flywheel of your own efforts begin to spin on its own. That feeling is your new normal. Go build your obvious life. Make it seem effortless to everyone else. They might call you lucky or gifted. You and I will know the secret: you were simply brave enough to stop working hard, and start working obvious. The world is waiting for what you'll create with all that freed up energy. Now, go make it obvious.